Update on the Dodge Challenger. The body tub, various components have been painted with this metallic sort of grey with a hint of blue kind of colour, as outlined in the previous video. Very pleased with the colour. It's really nice, as it's probably not going to show up very well in this light because this is artificial light, so I will have to get that in natural daylight at some point. But it's a really nice colour and I'm delighted with the colour. It's really good. Unfortunately I had a bit of a problem with the hood, the bonnet. As you can see, that's in primer. The reason being, the entire right hand side over here wrinkled. It reacted to something, I don't know what, and the whole thing wrinkled up and ruined a completely lovely paint job. So I'm quite disappointed and annoyed at that, and that's had to be redone. I've had to strip the whole top portion of the bonnet. That's just been reprimed again today. Hopefully it will be cured enough to flat tomorrow and get another coat of paint on, and I'm hoping I can get the paint with the appropriate number of coats. I'm hoping I can get it to match the body tub. Otherwise I'm going to have to strip the whole lot and spray everything again, which will be really infuriating. At the same time, the engine block that you see there is in primer, having been painted silver yesterday, and that one was entirely my own fault. I flooded it and sprayed too much aluminium paint on there, on the rockers, obscuring all the detail. That was my own fault, being clumsy, trying to rush to get that done. So I've had to strip that one as well, which is a bit of a nuisance, but that's where we're at. So there's still bits and bobs to do. I've got to get some colour on the hood, the bonnet, and on the front wheel wells, because they will be visible under the bonnet. And that's where we're at. Update on my Revell Dodge Challenger. You can also see there for anybody that's been following the Panigale build, this is the engine, airbox, radiator and intake assembly. You don't know how well you can see on there, but the engine has had an oil wash. Try and get that focus for you, which has brought out some of the detail very nicely. But more on that one later. For now, I've got the car body and the bonnet or hood painted up in this nice metallic sort of silvery with a hint of blue colour, and clear coated with Humbrol enamel. And we've got the exhaust components painted in Humbrol metal coat, and they need a little bit more buffing to get them shiny. And likewise with the brake discs, it's probably a little bit more evident on those there, so it buffs up quite nicely, as you can see. I find silvery chrome colours on car exhaust typically don't reflect very accurately, because unless you've got a performance exhaust which is usually heat stained, sort of fairly polished stainless, they don't reflect very accurately. For stock exhaust, something like a Humbrol metal coat polished stainless works very well, I find. And we've got the floor pan, the underside of the floor pan, that needs a dusting of black, and it's got the body colour under there just now, and then a dusting of black to sort of reflect, hopefully to reflect the factory finish a little bit, and then some detailing touches in black, such as your suspension mounting components, your fuel tank and bits and pieces. And that's to do. Here we've got the body tub painted up, and that includes the various little engine bay components, windscreen washer fluid, and a few decals, and the brake reservoir and the suspension turret caps painted in black there, and and sort of coolant and wash fluids painted white. The inside of the cab is there, like so, and a few detailing touches, hard to pick out just at the moment, but you've got some little bits of sort of silvering trim around the edge of the gear lever and the door handles, which I've picked out in silver. Again, very hard to see, but they are there. And a few decals for the instruments, the radio, and on the glove box here, and the steering wheel picked out in silver, and then the two-tone seats. And then I've got some suspension components down here. Everything's pretty much painted up now. There's just a few little bits to paint to finish. Some of the suspension components and a bit of dry brushing and such, the springs and shock absorbers and what have you. Here we've got the engine, and I'll try and get that to focus for you. Got the transmission, gearbox, and the engine block, which is painted red. The sump and the gearbox is aluminium, the intake in aluminium, and then the rocker covers in black with the lettering picked out in silver. I'm quite pleased with that. And here the wheels, which are painted in Citadel Mithril Silver with a Tamiya, a dusting of Tamiya clear coat, so they're not too glossy, but they're glossy enough to hopefully reflect what the originals would look like. And then just here is the glasswork with the edging done now. I was going to do this edging originally in a sort of satin or matte black painted around the inside of the glass, but I always find it quite stark, so I thought I'd try something a little bit new and different on this one, and I used Tamiya smoke. That's probably got about 5 or 6 coats of Tamiya smoke on. Now once it's all in place it will look darker, and hopefully that will look more accurate to the dark band that you see around windscreens. So that's where we're at with that one. It's at the point where it's kind of starting to come together a bit now. It's a few bits to put together, and it should start looking more like a complete car than a pile, rather than a pile of bits. There's very little else, as I say, to add to it. We've got the suspension components, which go, the springs and shock absorbers, which go with these components, which fit underneath the car. A few of the underside bits, suspension components, fuel tank and what have you, on the floor pan to pick out in black, and then a little bit of dry brushing to make them stand out a little. And hopefully in the next video we should be somewhere close to the completed. Hopefully in the next video we should be, if not completed, we should be somewhere very close to completed, and it should be looking pretty good. And hopefully in the next video, if not completed, we should be somewhere very close to completed, and I think it's looking pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. It's gone together very easily and fuss free, which I'm also pleased about. There's a couple of clear parts to add: the headlight lenses, the rear strip light for the red strip light at the back, which are already coloured, which I tend to find with Revell kits kind of handy, but not the biggest problem in the world, because you can obviously just get your red clear paint to paint your red bits and your amber bits for your lenses, for indicators and that kind of thing. So it's not such a big problem, but it's handy nonetheless. So yeah, while it did appear daunting at first and there actually looked to be a lot of sprues, there's really not half as much to this as you would expect. So hopefully in the next video we'll see this somewhere near complete, if not completely assembled and ready. And keep checking out for that. And I'll hopefully get back on the Panigale build soon as well. Thank you for watching.